Welcome back. We start off with Asia as the People's Bank of China conducted a medium-term loan operation on Wednesday while keeping the interest rate unchanged. The central bank issued 300 billion yuan worth of one-year medium-term lending facility loans to financial institutions at 2%, maintaining the previous rate. The bid rates for this operation ranged from 1.9% to 2.3%, according to the central bank. A batch of 1.45 trillion yuan worth of MLF loans is due to expire this month. China's top legislator approved a value-added tax law, which will come to effect on January 1st, 2026. Qnews news agency reported that the new law consolidates previous regulations, including exemptions for certain items. VAT, which accounted for around 38% of China's national tax revenue in 2023, is the country's largest tax category. The government could also add new items to the scope of tax deductibles to support specific sectors or businesses. The introduction of this VAT law brings China closer to having specific laws for 14 of its 18 tax categories, marking significant progress in statutory taxation. Still in China, Commerce Ministry has announced that it will extend its anti-dumping investigation into European Union products by 3 months, taking the deadline to April 5, 2025. The investigation, launched on January 5th, was initially expected to conclude within a year, but was extended due to its complexity. While the investigation could have been extended by up to 6 months, it will now only be extended by 3 months. Preliminary findings suggest EU product dumping could harm China's domestic market, leading to temporary measures that affect major French brands. Japan's government is preparing a record 115.5 trillion yen budget for the fiscal year starting in April, driven by higher social security and debt servicing expenses. This comes as the Bank of Japan moves away from its decade-long monetary stimulus, increasing fiscal pressure. However, new bond issuance will drop to 28.6 trillion yen, the lowest in 17 years, due to an 8.8 trillion yen increase in tax revenue, reaching a record 78.4 trillion yen. Debt servicing costs will rise to 28.2 trillion yen, with the 10-year bond yield expected to hit 2%. The primary budget deficit is forecast to fall to under 1 trillion yen. Governor Kazuhide has stated that the Bank of Japan anticipates that Japan's economy will edge closer to achieving its 2% inflation target sustainably in 2025. Ida highlighted improving consumption and rising wages driven by labor shortages as signs of economic recovery. However, he warned of risks tied to global uncertainties, including economic policies under U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Ida emphasized that further adjustments would depend on economic and financial developments, particularly wage increases across small and mid-sized firms. President Tayyip Erdogan has announced that Turkey's net monthly minimum wage will rise to 22,104 Turkish lira in 2025, marking a 30% increase from 2024. This wage hike, affecting approximately 9 million workers, is also expected to influence salary increases in the private sector. Economists predict the wage increase could fuel inflation in the coming months. According to central bank studies, a 25% wage rise could push annual inflation up by 1.5 to 5 percentage points. On the same note, Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has announced a 9.54% increase in the minimum wage for 2025, raising it to 1.4 million pesos, $323.90 per month, up from 1.3 million pesos this year. The hike was made by decree after the government, business associations, and workers' unions failed to reach an agreement. This increase is lower than the 12% rise announced for 2024. Colombia's central bank forecasts inflation will close 2024 at 5.3%, slowing to 3.1% by the end of 2025.
Me llamo Gustavo Petro y soy
Russia's Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has stated that the transfer of $1 billion to Ukraine from assets frozen by the West is considered theft and may potentially lead to future legal action. Peskov called the blocking of Russian assets absolutely illegal and argued it violates international norms and rules. Peskov affirmed that Russia would take all necessary measures to defend its rights and reclaim the assets. The $1 billion is part of a larger initiative under the G7, as announced by Ukrainian Prime Minister on Tuesday.
Мы критикуем западников за то, что они идут по пути